the review and approval of our previous meeting minutes. Those were on 2/14/25. And do I have a motion to accept the meeting minutes?
I move we accept the meeting minutes, Jennifer Covington.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. And is there a second?
I'll second, Tim Lovell.
Wonderful. Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Awesome. Any opposed? Okay, we've accepted those meeting minutes. Thank you so much. We have a slight deviation to the agenda, just due to some schedule constraints. We're actually going to jump to our second agenda item first, and that's the Wild West Project Report. So we'll hear from Jim Stewart, and a few others will be joining him, Scotty Scracken and Joe Bren, and we have 20 minutes allocated for that. This is for us to learn about UETN's involvement in a multi-state collaboration to help develop the workforce for field engineer network professionals in Nevada, Arizona, and Utah. So I'll turn time over to you, Jim.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And it's nice to be with all of you today, although I'm in Anaheim at the Internet 2 Community Exchange with Scotty. And so we're just in different areas, but here to talk today about the Wild West Grant, which is a National Science Foundation funded research grant. Last year on July 11th, we received notification that this grant had been funded. It's for 5 years and $5 million, and it's fully funded, at least at this time. And just to put a little finer point on that, it's a collaboration really between and there is the notification, the actual notification that we received there. So it's this collaboration. So Scotty Strachan, who is with us today, is the principal investigator, and co-principal investigators are myself, Joe Breen from the University of Utah, and Derek Masseth from Sun Corridor in Arizona. And we began this collaboration with conversations and meetings that Scotty and I had at the Community Exchange about 15 months previous to the award that we received. We are blessed to have a lot of collaborators and advisors from around the country that are very distinguished and capable and are very willing to help us out. And there's just a list of those. And for this grant, we are obligated to provide network and wireless expertise for this project. Each one of our states has identified a primary research location for us. It's Bonderman Station, Rio Mesa, which is east of Moab in that area, south of I-70. And we have been doing some work with the University of Utah to understand how that site can be improved. We're also providing overall project management for this grant. And we will receive a vehicle, some tools, full funding for an FTE for 5 years for 60 months, because we're going to make sure that we extend that. And technically, although we're several months past the beginning of this grant, we're technically in year 0 of the grant. And we also have received funding for student help and for reimbursement of 3 other positions as part of this grant. Wild West is primarily focused on providing professional development for staff in Utah, Arizona, and Nevada. And the majority of this funding is for staff. We're focusing on developing skills to improve research connectivity and access in rural areas. And we're really responsible to make sure we document and share these findings, and to reach beyond the 3 states and give back to the broader community, and to bring researchers and network experts together to identify good opportunities to work together. This is how it's formally spelled out as part of the grant, our responsibilities. I know this is not meant to be something where you can really understand what's going on, but just to see that Scotty, Derek, Joe, and I have really thought through the different phases, and this are the activities, and we've taken a lot of time to outline those and make sure that we understand what the expectations are year by year. This is a slide that Scotty prepared, and I don't know if you want to jump in at this point, Scotty, but this just gives an overview of the intellectual merit and the approach of the grant. We have also gone through, and this really outlines, again, each one of the states that are part of this grant and what we're expected to do and how we're expected to work together. So the point that I want to make is we've given a lot of thought as to how to work together and what we will do to work together. Scotty, this represents, they've been doing a lot of things on mountaintops already. So this just extends the work that's being done in Nevada. And there's a lot of technology that gets put up on these mountaintops and that helps to make sure that we can do data transfer of sensors and other the cameras and other data collecting devices that are in these rural areas that are very difficult to be able to get that data back to the servers and the collection points. So this is a nice thing that Scotty's provided for us, and our collaborators in Arizona. And this is a slide taken from their presentation and the work that they're doing in Arizona. So that's really the presentation I've prepared. Scotty, do you want to jump in? I think it's important that you have an opportunity.
Jim, your last slide, did you, I didn't see a slide.
You didn't see that there?
No. Did anybody else? I don't, maybe.
Have you not been able to see my slides at all?
Yeah, what?
I can see him.
Okay.
I can see them also.
I see
All
your
right.
slides. I see your slides just fine.
Okay, perfect. Scotty.
Yeah, Jim, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just wanted
Just
to make
real-
sure the audio check worked.
Real quick, Steve, up in the upper part of your
Got 'em.
Zoom. Okay, thanks.
Right, thanks.
Okay. Yeah, Jim, thanks for giving me some time to speak to the committee about what we're doing. Yeah, hi everyone. Scotty Strachan from Nevada. I'm from the Nevada System of Higher Ed. I work in our overall IT support group, System Computing Services, and I lead a group called Research Engineering. And what we do is we really engage with research that happens across campus borders or beyond campus borders in ways that we can help with our state network and leveraging assets that we have that go beyond just the campus property and really gets out into our mission in the rural areas. And this grant fills a need that we've been looking at for a while, where we know that a lot of education, especially in higher ed, in both the 2- and 4-year institutions, as well as the universities, is engaged with the problems and the processes in the more distant areas of the rural West. And technology is a key part of advancing the science, the education, and the service that results from doing this work. And the expertise necessary to design, deploy, and maintain the networks that go out to these places, as well as integrating the science packages for faculty and students that are not technologists. They do science and they don't want to know too much about the technology most of the time. They need help with that. And collectively, we've identified in our states the need to expand and demonstrate our expertise in these areas. And this grant really plants the flag for our states on the national scene that we are the experts in this, and that the national community can come to us for help, advice, and training when it comes to designing, deploying, and maintaining technologies at the very distant edge, that last 100 miles of connectivity and deployment. And UETN or UEN is known regionally for having this expertise in the enterprise space. And so I've been doing this as a field scientist, mountain climatology, for a long time. And I was very, very pleased to partner with Jim and his team, because they've been working as really a technical center of excellence for state networking, and bringing what we do in Nevada on the science side closer to those enterprise practices is really what I was aiming for in this partnership. And the fact that we got it funded is just really encouraging and amazing. And it was very well reviewed by the National Science Foundation and the reviewing panels. That this is an area that we need to be focusing on more in the Intermountain West. And we see a lot coming out of this, not just over the next 5 years as we build this team, but beyond that. So Jim, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted me to add, but that's kind of the summary from my side.
Thanks, Scotty. And we're privileged to have Joe Breen join us now. Joan, we're just in the part of the presentation that we did for the AC at the end. If you wanted to just jump in and talk about your perspective on the Wild West, that would be great.
Can you all hear me okay? Is it coming through?
Yes.
Right. Thanks. From my perspective, there's lots of value here for us as in multiple areas, from supporting the field research. That's an aspect. Also supporting education, be it high school or potentially tribal or just different faculty throughout the state that their students, as they bring them on. We're looking at supporting Bonderman Rio Mesa here in Utah, and that is a field station. It's one of, if you look at utahfieldstations.org, you will see there's a number of field stations here in Utah, and that's one where we're focused on. And we've got a number of scientists that are there. They also host high school trips. And as we go forward, we're looking at how to take the wireless expertise of UETN and merge that to teach students, whether it's high school or others. We've had some early talks there. We're trying to put some curriculum together that might be able to teach the wireless side of it, as well as the science side of it. As part of this project. So this really affects a lot of things. And as a side, I don't know if y'all talked of it because I got on late due to data issues, but this is also having ramifications with Bureau of Land Management that putting up cameras. So we've had a number of different partnerships that have grown out of these discussions and are growing because of the work that Nevada is doing. We're leveraging that, as well as work that is happening in Arizona. So we're getting across the state borders, which when you look at this field science, it doesn't care about state borders. It cares about making things happen. And the same with supporting the faculty and the research. It goes across this whole Western Basin area. Let me pause there for questions and to see if y'all can actually hear me still.
Yeah, we can hear you, Joe. And before we go to questions, Scotty, I believe there will be some concern, and there is some concern that we have about the federal funding and the state of grants and funding that way. Could you just address the conversations you've had with our?
Sure. Yeah, so this is a research grant, meaning that the full funding amount is allocated to the awardees once it's awarded. Now, that doesn't mean that the federal government doesn't have mechanisms to, return that money or bring it back. In the past, that's only happened if somebody has been very, very bad with how they've managed their operation and done something illegal. Because this award is from an area that is computer and information science and engineering, the SIZE program at National Science Foundation, this is, and it's focused on workforce development, and it's focused on field science. This is something that I believe is seen as valuable across all political parties. It's something that regard the last 10 to 15 years, regardless of which political party is running the show, this area has been prioritized for funding. And so nothing that I've gotten from our NSF program officers that administer the annual reports for this award, no indication I've gotten from other program officers at NSF that I know from other awards that I'm on. I'm on a number of other awards across a variety of program areas, has indicated that this funding area would be on the chopping block for anything. And so people are worried about this because, there are unexpected things that are happening in other areas of NSF and federal funding. I am not concerned about this, and I am proceeding forward with the full expectation that this project will run to its completion and remain fully funded. And I just completed my first hire for 5 years. The person is starting at the end of this week. I'm really excited about that. And I hope that we can stay focused on moving forward with what we want to accomplish and demonstrate to the National Science Foundation that indeed we can create something new and something valuable, not just for our regions and the scientists we're serving, but for the nation.
Thank you, Scotty. So I'll turn it over to board members for questions.
Jim, can I just make a quick comment just to put a finer point on what you all presented? Because I'm not sure it's coming through totally clear, but the why behind this grant is, if you take Bonderman, for example, I was just looking at their calendar. They have 3 different groups in there right now talking about bird banding, looking at gravel, and a group from doing geology from Weber State. Those groups oftentimes come in and they use their own technology. They may even bring decommissioned technology from their department to use out in the field. A big part of this is to establish a way in which that infrastructure can talk to one another so that in the future, it lasts a little bit longer. And at the end of the day, it becomes a more cost-efficient way to provide the technology or support the technology for this field research. And that's where a UETN or Scotty's outfit comes into play, is that support out in the field. That's kind of what we do. We put hardware in the field all the time. We've got a whole team doing that all the time, crawling up towers across the state. So that's kind of the end impact. And what we're hoping to do is it helps also train that support staff on the ground who may not be full-time tech folks. Just having a little bit of knowledge and support from us, that'll improve their ability to support those research teams. So hopefully, Jim, did I describe that?
Yes, thanks, Spencer.
And you answered the question I had about just the source of funds and if there's any concern with the current political climate with grant funds being taken back. It seems like we don't anticipate that. I think I might have missed, what is the duration for the grant money we have currently?
5 years.
5 years. Okay.
And it's
wonderful.
60 months. We're going to make sure that we get the full 60 months. So, for example, we haven't hired our FTE as yet, but that's in process. And when we do hire that, it will be for, we'll do the no-cost extension, be able to have that for the total 60 months.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you. Other questions board members may have? Okay, well, hearing none, thank you so much. We appreciate the presentation.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, our next item of business is actually a cybersecurity landscape assessment. And for this, we will need to enter closed session. This is in accordance with the Utah Open and Public Meetings Act. We will discuss then and have the report of the findings from the Cybersecurity Landscape Commission that was commissioned by UEN through CompuNet. Do I have a motion for us to move into closed session?
So moved. This is Leah.
Thank you, Leah. And is there a second?
This is Kurt.
Oh, was that Kurt?
Seconded by Kurt.
Okay, thanks so much, Kurt. All right, the motion's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, are there any opposed? All right, we will now open closed session. Denise, if you could please pause the recording and then wonderful. All right, well, I'll turn time over to Troy and our guest from CompuNet to present the draft report. At the conclusion of that presentation, we'll ask any questions we may have, and then we will go